Hey, welcome to another class of Tuesday Night Beer School, starring me, Chad of Chad's Beer Reviews, and Brett. Sorry, you're on this side. Brett from Urban Artifact, and also former Albany brew crafter, is joining us again. What's going on, man?
Hey, Chad, it's good to see you again.
Yeah. So this is part 2 of our Guinness trilogy. We're covering the three. Well, there's really 2 Irish stouts, and then the foreign extra stout, which is more of a British style. But yeah. So let's just jump right into it.
Yeah.
All right. So for Irish Extra Stout 15C, overall impression: a fuller-bodied black beer with a pronounced roasted flavor, often similar to coffee and dark chocolate with some malty complexity. The balance can range from moderately bittersweet to bitter, with the more balanced versions having up to a moderate malty richness and the bitter versions being quite dry. That's interesting. All right, so let's skip down to whoops. We're gonna do comments, history, vitals, all that stuff. All right, comments. Traditionally a stronger bottled product with a range of equally valid possible interpretations, varying most frequently in roast flavor and sweetness. Most traditional Irish commercial examples are in the 5.6 to 6% ABV range. History: same roots as Irish Stout, but as a stronger product. Guinness Extra Stout was first brewed in 1821 and was primarily a bottled product and still is. Characteristic ingredients: similar to Irish Stout, may have additional dark crystal malts or dark sugars. Style comparison: midway between an Irish Stout and a foreign extra stout in strength and flavor intensity, although with a similar balance. More body, richness, and often malt complexity than Irish Stout. Black in color, not brown like an English porter. All right, so 35 to 50 IBUs, so yeah, it's pretty hoppy.
Yeah.
30 to 40 SRM, pretty dark. And 5 to 6.5 ABV, so, definitely stronger than the dry stout, but, far from an imperial. The only one of these I've ever had is the Guinness, which obviously we have right now. And a lot of these, I know I've heard of O'Hara's, but I've never seen this version. I've never seen this product in American stores.
No, I haven't seen any of those bottom 3, actually.
Yeah. Porterhouse 𝗔𝗿𝗃𝗃𝗃. That's interesting. All right. So, yeah, no surprise here. We're, again, being kind of basic bitches. Guinness Extra Stout, 5.6 ABV, 11.2 ounce bottle. Not nitro, just regular old carbonation. So, all right. So here's the part where we take a break, pour the beer, and we come back with aroma. All right. So we've got our Guinness in our glass, and we have very different appearances, but we'll come back to that in a minute. So, although actually, when you have a head this big, sometimes it can actually inhibit the aroma. So, we might have to go off your nose.
Well, I'm curious to see how different these will be.
I will say it's similar to the regular Guinness, but this seems creamier, sweeter.
Yeah, definitely more sweet impressions. I get like caramel and milk chocolate versus like baking chocolate like we got on original Guinness.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, kind of like almost like chocolate milk. Half
Chocolate
and
milk,
half,
yeah.
half and half creamer. Um,
I'm
I
actually
also
getting a little bit of the fruity esters that I did not get on regular Guinness as well, like date, fig.
yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, something in the dark dried fruit range. Oddly enough, I don't really get like roast or coffee on here.
I almost
Yeah,
get like a
I would
brownie
have to.
batter, but just really subtle.
And maybe like same thing with the Guinness is like maybe like real faint like earthy or piney or floral hops. Yeah, but to me this seems like quite estery.
Hmm.
Almost like those like the English yeast strains. I don't think not like Ringwood. I don't really get diacetyl on here, but it is
No.
fruity like an English pub ale.
Yeah, man, it's almost like when you like vanilla extract. It's almost got like this vanilla extracty thing going too.
Hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't say vanilla. To me it's like coffee creamer, slight fruitiness. There's like an essence of dark malt, but not like roasted coffee.
Yeah.
chocolate or yeah, nothing like burnt or coffee or anything like that.
No, it's on the sweeter spectrum for sure.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's check the specs as far as aroma. Moderate to moderately high coffee-like aroma, often with slight dark chocolate, cocoa, biscuit, vanilla, or roasted grain secondary notes. Like, man, they have a lot of possibilities here. Medium-low esters optional. Hop aroma low to none, but maybe slightly earthy or spicy, but is typically absent. Malt and roast dominate the aroma. All right, so they say right off the rip, they say moderate to moderately high coffee-like, and I'm saying like I'm not getting coffee. Yeah, chocolate, cocoa, biscuit, vanilla. I mean, you mentioned vanilla, roasted grain,
I can see the
medium low
biscuit.
esters. Yeah, I would say, yeah, I'd say medium low esters. And
Yeah.
I think there's a slight tang to this as well.
Yeah, it's kind of got that similar acrid note that Guinness Draft does, but not to the same degree. I agree. I'm not getting a ton of that coffee either. Like, it's obviously roast malt driven, but I'm getting way more on the fruity and milk chocolatey spectrum than I am anywhere near coffee.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that could be due to I was telling Brett off camera is that I don't think I've ever had a fresh bottle of this, and it's always hard to tell. I think it's just like with the bottles, is that it's it doesn't sell as well as the regular draft cans, and so there could be heat damage, or oxidation or something. Although I'm not really getting like cardboard or share or anything like that. It's just actually it's funny. The more I smell it, actually it smells better the more I smell it. But yeah, I mean like it doesn't live up to the specs exactly. So this might be a good example of what I would prefer for this show is beers that aren't 50 points,
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as aroma goes, I'm thinking this is like a 7 to 9. I think I'll start with the 8. Maybe I'll come back to that. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think it kind of doesn't really hit the mark of the styles in the way in which they have it lined out. So I think that's fair.
You gonna go with 8?
Yeah, 8.
Okay.
I might even. Yeah, I wouldn't go below 8.
Okay. Appearance. Well, like I said at the beginning, we both have. I would probably describe this as very dark brown, and I had a big, huge, frothy, tight bubble head, and yours is. It looks almost like an imperial stout in the glass, and it does have that ruby, highlights, brown. Yeah, I'd probably call it. It's a dark brown with ruby highlights, and I'd probably call it like light brown frothy foam. It's weird because you didn't really get much of a head on yours.
No, I'm not getting that same garnet or anything like that. It's definitely more brown, almost like dark stained leather. And it doesn't seem. I should have got a flashlight. That's the smart thing to do.
Yeah.
And doesn't seem as crystal clear as the draft version does.
Yeah, I think it's also the age of the bottle, and it's not bottle condition, but you tend to get haze in bottling. All right, let's check the specs on appearance. Jet black, opaque, a thick, creamy, persistent tan head is characteristic. Well, that describes my pour.
I don't have any head remaining on this. It all dissipated quickly.
Well, you know what? I'll give it a 3 out of 3 on appearance, and I think you would probably give it a 2.
Yep.
All right. So I mean, so far we're pretty close.
Yep.
All right. So here comes the best part, where we get to taste the flavor. Cheers.
Cheers.
The first thing that strikes me, first thing I notice is like this is much sweeter than regular Guinness, and much more like overtly malty. I think because like it doesn't have that nitro to hide behind, so it does have like a little bit of like a caramel kind of flavor. caramel or like dark chocolate. Yeah, it's like I'm saying, like maybe and some fruity yeast esters in here too. So it's sweeter, but it's not like a sweet beer. It's not like a pastry stout, you know.
No, it's the malt flavors without the sweetness, with the overt, or at least the overt sweetness.
Mhm.
I'm getting like a little bit of this like bitter acridness on the finish, which is really nice because it
Yeah, me
helps
too.
balance the those fruity, sweeter flavors up front. I get that caramel as well. It really reminds me of like burnt toast, but you just say, fuck it, I gotta hurry. It's the early in the morning. Sorry, I cursed. If you need to scrub that. And then you just scrape fig jam on top of it and eat it anyway. That's what this reminds me of.
Yeah, it does have that similar to regular Guinness, the burnt popcorn, the burnt
Yep.
toast in the aftertaste. It's like
Yep.
up front, it's more slight caramel, fruity yeast esters. I think a lot of it probably has to do with the water profile too.
Mm.
Um, that's like the je ne sais quoi factor of a lot of
Yep.
especially European niche beers, like the difference between Irish and English and Czech and German. It's just all their water profiles, you know, that these styles that were invented hundreds of years ago before they knew how to adjust the water, you know. Um, so to me, and I know, like, well, actually, if you read How to Brew or some of the Charlie Papazian books or Tasting Beer by Randy Mosher, he gets into that about how they use dark malt to account for like the hardness or the
Hmm.
softness of water. That's why like British and Irish beers tend to be dark, and the Czech and German beers tend to be light because of the softness of the water or the hardness of the water.
Yeah, you need those darker roast malts to bring that pH of the mash down. And it works. I mean, it punches up the just how hard that water is. Really makes that
Mhm.
back end roast grain flavors really pop on the palate too. I like how much the caramely flavor. You can
Mhm.
tell it's malt derived caramely flavor. It's not like uh, a residual sweetness thing. It's not like someone was adding flavorings or adding milk caramel. It's literally like caramel malt
Yeah,
driving a lot of that, and it's really great to taste.
yeah. It's funny. I haven't had this beer in a long time, and I never realized like how caramelly it was. I mean, it's basically. I mean, it's very similar to the regular Guinness, but you know, stronger. I mean, it's
Yep.
extra stout. So I mean, if the few people out there that drink Guinness for like the sweetness, if you like that sweet flavor, the extra stout is that flavor but stronger. Like I said, to me it's like half and half coffee creamer, um, but without the coffee flavor. I mean, there is like a essence of chocolate, and maybe like I guess you could
Hmm.
say, like in the aftertaste, like the bitter acrid, the burnt kind of sensation, like a bit of a coffee, like black coffee taste to it. Not quite to the extent of like a lot of American imperial stouts or something like that.
No, it's great. It's really nicely balanced. It's what I like in a stout
Hmm.
personally. You get the sweet flavors without it being sweet. It's
Hmm.
balanced with the bitterness. It's balanced with the dryness and the astringency. It's really nice.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that sweetness is coming from yeast esters. To me, it has that British Irish yeast fruity character. There does seem to be a subtle spicy hop character here, or earthy. Not quite like like a German Pilsner or something like that, but I am noticing, and maybe it's just the combination of the hops plus
Mm.
the roasted malt. Like there's like this slight kind of spicy bitterness on the back end, the finish, slightly in the aftertaste.
Yeah, once that kind of malt sweetness falls out, it seems to pop its head out.
Hmm. It seems to be really well attenuated too. It's not there's no residual sweetness here. It's not.
No, there's nothing lingering on the palate. You don't feel it on the teeth or anything. It's all kind of just in and out
Mhm.
in a nice, clean way. And the higher carb and actually having some carbonation and not nitro helps clean that up too, I think.
Yeah. It's real smooth. Well, we'll come back to mouthfeel in a little bit, but let's talk about flavor. Let me get this ready. Sorry, folks. I should have this ready. All right, here we go. Flavor: moderate to moderately high dark roasted grain or malt flavor with a medium to medium high bitterness. The finish can be dry and coffee-like to moderately balanced with up to a moderate caramel or malty sweetness. Yeah, I would agree with that. Moderate caramel, malty, yeah. Typically has roasted coffee-like flavors, but also often has dark chocolate character in the palate, lasting in the finish. I would say there's kind of like an aftertaste of dark chocolate. I'm not calling it's not milk chocolate. It's not like candy.
No.
Background mocha or biscuit flavors are often present and add complexity. Medium low fruitiness optional. Yes. I would definitely say I might even go as far as say medium fruitiness, but yeah, medium low. Medium earthy or spicy hop. Yeah, exactly what I just said.
Yep.
Flavor optional. Level of bitterness is somewhat variable, as is the roasted character, and the dryness of the finish allow for interpretation. Yeah. So wow. Yeah, it's right there.
This to me kills the flavor way more than it did the aroma. This is all of that is just spot on with what we're picking up here in this extra stout.
Yeah, and let me bring up the score sheet. Yeah, so I think I give it an 8 on aroma, but I'd probably go 18 on flavor, maybe even 19.
Yeah, I would definitely lean more towards the 19 as well.
Yeah,
I mean, shit.
I think it's 17 to 19. I don't think it's a perfect 20.
No,
but it's real high.
It is high. There is just so little to even nitpick on this. It tastes great.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about mouthfeel real quick. It definitely has more body than regular Guinness, and a little more carbonation too. So I'd probably put like medium body, medium low. Well, probably about probably medium body, medium low CO2. Very smooth. It's not quite as creamy, obviously. I mean, it doesn't have the nitro, but I mean, it's very smooth. Very drinkable. 5.6. Obviously, I mean, you almost never get alcohol in beers this low, but yeah, smooth, creamy. What do you think?
Just the astringency is light. It doesn't linger like I think it did on Guinness Draft, largely because I think those malt characteristics are a little bit more pronounced, and the carbonation being higher probably helps with that. So
yeah,
I largely agree. Medium to medium full body probably kind of seems where it's at.
You go as far as say medium full.
I'm definitely getting a lot more malt character that sticks on my tongue through the sip than I do on like Guinness Draft, for instance. Maybe it's not quite medium full, but it's definitely not medium light.
Yeah, it's medium at least. It's medium to medium full, I would agree. And yeah, probably about moderate carbonation. I wouldn't call it creamy. It's not that it's creamy. It's just smooth and soft, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what the specs say. Medium full to full body with a somewhat creamy character.
Okay.
All right, that's exactly what I said. Moderate carbonation. Yep, very smooth. Yep. May have a light astringency from the roasted grains, although harshness is undesirable. A slight warming character may be detected. That's odd. I mean, it's not that strong, 5.6, but yeah, I mean, it's right there. That's at least a 4, if not a 5 out of 5. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, style guidelines saying medium full to full. Maybe we can nitpick it on there. So I probably lean towards 4 rather than 5 because you could probably argue it's not as full as intended. But everything else is dead nuts.
Yeah, and so overall, I'm thinking at least an 8, if not a 9. It's not a perfect 10, but I'm gonna say 9. This is a total score of 42. Yeah, I'd probably agree with that. I mean, the only thing that was really off noticeably was the aroma.
Yeah.
But everything else, I mean, if I had to, I could bump almost everything on here up to the full score. But as always, this is, it's just an exercise. It's, just to examine the style guideline. I would say classic example. I don't know if I'd say flawless, but it is pretty wonderful. It's not quite a world-class Well, the particular bottles that we're drinking, again, I
Yeah.
think it's handling issues, it's age.
And the fact that the flavor is so spot on, but the aroma is kind of falling a little flat for both of us says that age is doing this beer no favors.
All right, so that concludes part 2 of our of our 3-part trilogy of Guinness beers. So come back next week and we will be doing Guinness Foreign Extra Stout, and we'll see how that one goes. So thanks again to Bret. Sorry, you're on this side. Thanks to Bret from Urban Artifact and former Albany Brewcrafter for joining me. And we'll see you guys next week. All right.
Cheers.
Yep.
Somebody brewed it. Chad just reviewed it. Thanks for watching Chad's Beer Review. Trust me, the next episode will be a lot better.